This is how I set up my APISTOGRAMMA community tank. So for the basics, I definitely want to stick with anywhere from 6.8 to 7.2 for the pH. And then for temperature, anywhere from 78 to 82. So I'm starting to set this tank up with contra soil. I prefer to use black. I just think it looks a little bit cleaner. Just a good base for plants. I think it's going to help a lot with the plants. So I would recommend using the contra soil as a base and then using something to top it. Like I'm using sand here. And obviously you don't want to flatten everything out completely because it's a tank and it's supposed to look natural, and natural is unnatural. The APISTOGRAMMAs are definitely the main piece of this tank, considering I'm going to have a pair in here who are shooting for just mainly breeding purposes. I would not use any sort of community tank, but because I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone, satisfaction with community tank along with breeding, this is what I'm doing. This is the APISTOGRAMMA Aquarium Co-op Cave. I'm going to try seeing how this works out. I've heard a lot of good reviews, but I'm going to stick with this to start off. One thing I definitely recommend is facing the Apisto Cave away from the tank, facing towards the glass. By facing the cave away from the rest of the tank, it will definitely help with the stress from the female and guarding her eggs. I sprinkle a little bit of black sand on the top from leftover tanks. I think it looks a little bit better, not just being one bold color. I'm putting the Amazon sword in right now. And then I picked up another plant. It's a stem plant. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but I'm going to flash up on screen what I'm pretty sure it is. So we're going to go ahead and just put this guy in here. I'm actually going to leave the little band that it came around with to keep it in place. So now I'm just split my Java fern in half, and I'm just putting them in. I actually got a small piece of a third piece that I put on the far side, and then I will be recording a care guide for the pistos. Also, probably might do one for rummy nose tetras and bristle nose plecos because that's going to be the entire community tank. But I don't think it's right to do a care guide without ever actually caring for a certain animal. A few basics are definitely at least 20 gallons. You have to make sure you don't have too aggressive fish around the pistos. Nothing too much on the bottom dwelling. Plecos, bristle nose plecos can definitely take a beating. So it's okay for them to be together, in my opinion. But again, I haven't kept in any of these species, so to be determined. And then we're going to come over to my other tank and go ahead and grab some clippings. They're kind of like house spider plants. They're not quite that, but they're like tall grasses. Again, I'm not exactly sure what they're called. But yeah, we're going to put some clippings of those in here because they grow like weeds. I also snuck my sponge filter in that I've been running for 2 weeks inside of my main tank just to get biofill working and make sure this tank can get fully cycled nice and quick. And at this point, I think the tank's coming together pretty nice. It's looking good. Obviously, there's no water in it. I recommend these pine cones. They're like these little pine cones. They lower the pH a ton. I really like using them. A lot of people use them for discus. They're going to float for a while, but it'll be good. So I got some water in the tank now. I think everything is looking great. Obviously, it's a little murky from the sand. Here's my other main tank real quick. I'm going to be doing a care guide soon after I care for the actual apistos, etc. But yeah. This is what it looks like a couple hours later. It's looking good and clear.